Partnered output coils, free energy. I started this thread back on January the 16th, 2015. My username at the time was EM Junkie. I posted a fair few posts there. Now, I just want to make a very strong point, and I have said many, many times that I am learning as I go along as well. I don't know everything. Some things I've learnt over time. I have increased my knowledge over time of this technology. There are still things even now that I don't fully understand. I wish I did. I wish I could mathematically predict how a machine is going to work, via inductance and so on and so forth, coupling factors and all that sort of thing. However, the truth of the matter is I still can't do it. I have to play and fiddle and mess around for a little while before I can get a machine to do what I want it to do. Over a period of time, you do grow a little bit of a feeling for it, and that feeling helps you reach your goal. I have said to many people, use your gut, do what you feels right. You listen to your inner voice. Don't let anyone guide you or push you or change your opinion of things. Use your own instinct. Do what you feels right. Now, this thread was started over at overunity.com, and I started this after some lengthy discussions on magnets and block walls and so on and so forth. That was actually the magnet myths and misconceptions here. The problem with overunity.com was, in my opinion, there were a group of people that were working very hard to suppress certain things, to make certain things look stupid and not valid, and do it very publicly. Normally we call these people trolls. I'm not going to name any names, but I'm sure that most everybody that watches these videos probably already knows who they are. What I can say is I have seen a fallback of these trolls to a particular forum. They've all fallen back to one particular place, and they seem to be pretty much trolling each other at the moment. We have changed the game. We have not played by their rules, and what we've done is create a situation where they physically are not able to play their games anymore. They don't have the ability. We have the power. We've changed the rules, and we have the chessboard pretty much covered at the moment. And that's thanks very much to you, to all the people out there that watch these videos, all the people out there that participate on my forum, all the people out there that are wanting to know more information, to increase their knowledge, to move ahead, and to start learning things that are important. And really that's what it's about. Anyway, so this was January the 16th, 2015. Prior to this, I had a lot of experience with AC and some with DC bucking coils. So I did investigate. Initially, I investigated some of the Akula work, and some of the Akula work led me to the same sort of thing as what I'd actually previously worked on before Akula came along. So I've sort of done a full circle, and that was bucking coils. Okay, so this thread was just very short. I just wanted to show this coil here carries a magnetic field that was inward. Secondary coil here carries a magnetic field that was also inward. This set of coils I hadn't properly deemed partnered output coils, so they came, the name of it at least anyway, came afterwards. You know, like for example, it was what makes sense. You know, what would you call these? And effectively, there is a coil here and there is a coil here. They have magnetic interactions between each other that are related to each other. So partnered output coils was the logical name that I chose. So I've been showing this for quite some time. This, like I say, this thread was January the 16th, 2015. Prior to that, I had been showing these coils in some of my videos. I've been showing some effects from some of these coils, and there was quite a few videos that I showed, some with pretty good results and some with just average results. Just on that topic, I'm very hesitant to show anything of great value. I have planned a very lengthy introduction of this technology. Some people have gotten frustrated and sort of thought to themselves, well, he doesn't have anything. And that's fair enough. Yeah, if that's what people want to think, then hey, I completely understand. I get that people get frustrated. And I just want to throw a big shout out to those people. Again, I want to reiterate, go with your gut feeling. Look, honestly, if you think this is rubbish, then hey, it's rubbish. But those people that are having success, those people that are seeing results that they normally wouldn't see, just please think to yourself that they are using partnered output coils. Partnered output coils are a critical factor in getting an end result. And yes, the end result sometimes is a little bit hard to get to. Things like turns, inductance, resonant frequencies, and even circuits. The circuits that you put on the end of these. You know, if you were to string just a light between these two terminals here, one there, and one there. If you were to string a light between there, you'd have to find a resonance point where this coil and this coil were able to have magnetic fields in reverse. Otherwise, you're just building just a standard transformer. I made the arrows in there indicating the magnetic field. I made the arrows in there as visible as I possibly could. That's why there's big red bits hanging out the end. Now, if your magnetic fields are not in reverse, then you've not got a working machine, and that's really why I did that. I just want to stress that point. Okay, this is just a quick search. I have pulled up Google, done a quick search for bucking coils, self-oscillation. Bucking coils equals over unity. Well, not quite correct. It's above unity. Unity, let's sort of deem these terms, because that's something that seems to be argued about on some of the forums at the moment. Unity, what is unity? Unity, the power that we put in, okay, is 1. So say, for example, a factor of the power that we put in to a system is 1. Now, 1 being could be 10 watts, could be 100 watts, could be 1,000 watts, could be 1,000,000 watts. But the energy that we put into a system is the unity factor, okay? Something that's been argued about for a long time. Some people are saying that's the total energy into a system. It's not. Open systems, the unity factor is the power that we put into the system. It's a limit of 1, and you're either under 1 on the output or over 1, and that's how the COP is measured. Okay, so when they say over unity, which is not correct, because it's above unity or below unity. Over is a term that should not have been coined. It's wrong, because they don't have the right domain. They've got to have the domain aboveunity.com to actually make it work. Sorry, bad joke. Anyway, unity. Okay, unity factor is 1. The unity factor that we put in is 1. That's our energy. Anything above 1 is coming in from somewhere else. It's a different input from a different source, not our source. And obviously, if it's an above unity machine, then we have energy that is over and above our unity factor. That's the way I term it. That's the way I've read it in the books. That's the way I've read it everywhere. Unity is the energy that we put in. And an open system means that you can have an input source to the system from a different source, not the source that we're using energy from. Back to the main point, bucking coils self-oscillation. Bucking coils self-oscillation, Google search. It brings up some pretty funky search results. Oh, look, it looks like I'm in there twice. And I just want to show you, this is a picture that I've been showing, highiq.org, my main website for static information. My other website, obviously, aboveunity.com is the forum. So this is the picture that I've been showing for quite some time. This video
The vector A and a scalar that goes with it, phi, are important physical quantities, and their importance grows as you become more and more into the quantum theory. The entire theory of quantum electrodynamics has the vector and scalar potentials as the fundamental laws, and the equations for those are the equations that replace the Maxwell equations, because the E and the B slowly disappear as the physics becomes more modern, and they're replaced by A and phi. Thank you.
Hi everybody. What you can see here is these two coils are wound in the way that I've just mentioned. This is a MEG type arrangement. I've got a set of permanent magnets in the middle, so the flux essentially goes both paths. These start an oscillation of the flux between the two paths. This is a dead shorted coil, dead shorted set of coils. The coil on this side is my input coil from the amplifier, driven by a sine wave oscillator. The input to the amplifier, 12 volt, 12.6 volts, 1.2 amps. The sine wave across the coils, across the oscillating coils is shown, and that's my load here, which is connected to this coil over here. So I'll show you the oscillation that I'm talking about. Now, with everything connected like this, and with the coil shorted, the light has more output on it. So if I disconnect it, connect it, disconnect it, connect it, and you can see over here there's no difference on the input. The input doesn't go up when I connect it or disconnect it. So connected, disconnected. Now it's a little bit like the flux gate magnemometer. It will, if the input, if you like, will oscillate just a little bit in between the connections and disconnections. So connected, disconnected, and I'll go back up. At the moment I would estimate the output on the light. Now this light is only a 12 volt 300 milliamp light, and as you can see it's not glowing at full brightness at the moment, but at the moment this device does prove a concept. It does prove that short-circuited coils can be wired and connected, wound, wired and connected, any configuration to assist in a self-oscillation. The oscillation is self-assisted by these two coils. This video is quite an old video. 2011, I sort of published the findings on this. There's a little bit of a story to how this actually come about. I was sitting on my chair one day just thinking about the vacuum triode amplifier. I had listened previously to one of the Tom Bearden videos. Now he did talk about the A-vector potential very, very briefly, but I had also listened to a lot of the Richard Feynman lectures and stuff like that. I've been into physics for quite a long time. I'm not a physicist. I'm not a mathematician. My primary area of work is in IT, computers, all that sort of thing. A little bit of artificial intelligence too, by the way. So anyway, look, I published this a long time ago. This is of great significance. The reason I put this as of great significance is I found two quotes, one from Tom Bearden, I believe that's Tom Bearden's, and one from Gene Manning. Gene Manning did an interview with Floyd Sweet before he died, I believe. At least this is the story that I have been led to understand. And she got a little bit of information from him which this particular line correlates directly to what Tom Bearden has said. Now this is very interesting because typically a transformer would not self-oscillate in most cases. I mean, certainly this is something that transformers with a symmetrical design would not typically do. However, I just want to point out that some transformers that are wound but wired incorrectly when they are connected and in operation, if they are wired incorrectly, I do believe that there's a pretty good chance that this oscillation can occur. And I believe it occurs in the same fashion that I have just shown you in the video. So I believe that we did at the time, I believe that we discovered the exact same situation, self-oscillation in a transformer. And I will show you a video where the amplitude on the wave on the coils actually increases. And that's actually the wave across the A-vector potential coils as well, which is interesting to see that. So connected, not connected, connected, not connected. Now that normally wouldn't happen. You normally wouldn't see that happen in a transformer. Normally when a transformer is connected, the voltage amplitude would not increase. The voltage amplitude would stay the same unless there's an assistive component to the transformer. This is the page that I was referring to. This is the original release on High IQ that I did. Now I must admit previously I got the quotes back to front. So the long one is from Tom Bearden, the short one are from Gene Manning, though the references there to those quotes. So I just want to show you this because this is really for the record. This is obviously the partner and output coils here, 1 and 2. This coil here obviously was putting a load on the core becoming or at least having a BH curve that was suitable for the partner and output coils to actually start some sort of oscillation. Again, this is very hard to describe. Just very quickly, I sort of trimmed some of the clips out just to make them quicker for you. But very quickly, I had to tune this device. There is a tuning, there's a frequency that you have to reach before you start seeing effects. To tune the device, first of all, you have to have a load. Second of all, you have to go to the right frequency before this coil and this coil have an interaction together. At the wrong frequency, it just doesn't work. Anyway, just a quick squiz through. You can see lots of investigation, lots of study. Again, I released this image, which was a bit of a modification from another image I found on the internet. And you've got to remember that bucking coils in the energy field is not something that, I mean, let's face it, there's very few websites even now that consider bucking coils as a generative idea. Most people just dismiss bucking coils. Oh no, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And for the most part, if people don't do enough experiment and view the experiments in the right way, they don't work. You have to actually look at it in a time manner. You have to actually break it down into time and try and find where this coil is going to have the most reactions against this coil and vice versa. So this coil has to have the most reactions between this coil. This was just a very quick visualization of what I was trying to show people at the time. Now you've got to think that the A vector potential, as it moves through the core, as it grows and as it decays and all that sort of thing, each one of these turns in the coil sees a change in the A vector potential, and that's why you need the hysteresis in the core. You have to actually start getting a movement of magnetic flux in the core rather than just a voltage. It's a little bit hard to actually describe. It's the changing current that causes a voltage, but the other way around, a change in voltage doesn't always cause a current. The current is the most important part, and I have tried to point that out many, many times. So current is your magnetic field. It's the same thing. If you don't have a proper magnetic field changing, you can't induce a voltage, and obviously it's a critical part. Anyway, again, a full study of Floyd Sweet. I believe this to be a true and valid diagram. I think that there is a very, very good chance that this one day will become a real live working device again. But I think it's going to take a little bit of work yet. I am not quite there. Again, some of these equations I still don't understand even today. I know what they're about and I know what they're trying to describe, but I wouldn't be able to put these equations into a working machine, if you like. To put these into this is a little bit hard. Possibly there might be some components missing as well. It is a true and a real diagram, but there might be a few little things missing, I think. Anyway, you can see this was a long time ago, created 2011, modified 2013. Remember also the quotes from, I really liked Walt Rosenthal. I thought Walt Rosenthal was a real champion, a real good man. He sent me a couple of emails in the early days, very, very brief. There was virtually nothing in them, but he did wish luck and everything else. So I really liked Walt. He was a good man, and I believe some of his experiences to be true and probably closest to the truth for the vacuum triode amplifier of Floyd Sweet. Anyway, this was an important quote, I believe. VTA likes to always see a minimum load of 25 watts. And why would that be? You've got to ask the question, why would someone write that? You know, what's the intention behind this? You know, likes is in commas. So for example, it's almost like it's a person or someone that Walt Rosenthal was referring to. The VTA likes. So it's almost as if the VTA is a person or a live machine. And that's the way I like to think of it as well. You've got to bring these things to life. they don't breathe and everything automatically. You've got to give them life. It's the same as the Frankenstein video that I've showed in some of my videos previously. Anyway, so likes to always see a minimum of 25 watts. Now, you could actually say that exactly as I've just described, that you have to have a load on this coil to get the core moving, to actually get the BH curve actually doing something. So likes to always see a load on this coil so that this bulb down here can actually glow, can actually work. Yeah, interesting stuff. Look, I don't want to spend too much time rambling about this, but this is part of the history of my development. My development has always focused on partnered output coils right from the early days. The reason for that is 1, 2. Okay, so these two coils I believe to work together the same as partnered output coils. Now, because this is potentially it's a DC source or DC current source. So as these two coils are resonant but opposed, obviously the current coming out of these two coils at the terminals will be DC. So to make it an AC machine, full AC, so that half cycle is not just a standard transformer kind of arrangement, Floyd Sweet has also brought the same resonance into these two coils here. So he's using 4 coils, but you could say that he's using 2 partnered output coils, 1, 2, and it just so happens that there's a P there, P1 and P2. So that's interesting. I found that very interesting. I've done tons of study on this. I know this VTA data, at least, inside out. So I'm pretty fluent with most of the data off the top of my head. Yeah, so VTA was always my guide. As soon as I saw this image, I knew that it was pretty close to the truth. Pretty accurate. If you were to put this to generation, probably looking at generation 4, but generation 4, this one here, I believe to be the self-runner. This was, I would have loved some better pictures of this one, but anyway, now that everybody's dying and the books are probably being lost, would have loved a really good, clear image of that one. But anyway, now I believe the circuitry here I don't know very much of. I don't know what it consisted of, but I believe it to be pretty close to what I just showed. There's lots of bits and pieces here that, I mean, this could even be just a terminal block, who knows. But if you go back, watch the original video of Walt Rosenthal, he does actually say that this was the battery-powered one, the self-started, the whole lot. So you connect the battery, flick the switch, as soon as the light comes on, it's disconnected and you're up and running. You've got to say that this is a fantastic little device. You know, it is so small to run 75 watts, 100 watts, or whatever it is on this bulb, all by itself on this little board, is pretty fantastic. It's a great achievement. Floyd Sweet always is going to be one of my heroes. Anyway, that's generation 3. Greater than 500 watts, I believe, was the full capability, even though it only shows 1 bulb. I mean, if you go back to some of the other ones, the next generation, generation 5, I mean, this is clearly Floyd Sweet had it down pat. He knew what he was doing. You know, you can see one there, one there, coils. I believe that to be some sort of separator. I've done some close-up study and stuff on that one there, and I believe there's a separation there. So it could be looking 1 coil at the top, 1 coil at the bottom, each side. Also, I believe the VTA did have partial cores. Walt Rosenthal said that the VTA was coreless coils, 2 to 4 coreless coils were the words that he used. Now, how do you define coreless? If you were told that this coil here had no core in the middle, okay, then you would think that, well, the coils have no core. But the core could have been just that little bit there. So the top coil could have had a core, bottom coil could have had a core, like that, but no core in the middle. So you would automatically think, well, it's coreless coils. And I have done a couple of experiments to show that there very likely was cores in the coil, that there might have been just a gap in between those two cores in the middle of the two partnered output coils, 1, 2 partnered output coils, one on each side. Magnets on the device. Now, again, most everybody should know that this is a hoax. Magnet conditioning was complete and utter rubbish. I don't know why it was perpetuated for so long, possibly as many as 6 or 7 experiments that can be shown that magnet conditioning was fake, false, complete and utter rubbish. I don't know why Tom Bearden, I don't know why Floyd Sweet, don't know why John Bedini went down such a silly path, because it doesn't matter how much the magnetic flux waves on these magnets. If it's moving very fast side to side, doesn't matter, because the EMF on this side of the coil being cut will be equal to the EMF on this side of the coil, but the EMF will be equal and opposite. The EMF will be running up this side of the magnet face and up this side of the magnet face. EMF will shorten the middle, and
so in a couple of sessions when I ended up over at Floyd's house, he had a very strange setup. He had a round tube, and that had house wire wrapped around it. And of course he had that to an amplifier, and he would put this whole box, actually would just take a magnet off and he would hold it down inside this tube, and of course as he turned the amplifier up, the magnet would wobble inside the tube like that. But I knew that that wasn't what he was claiming was the conditioning process, because just taking this magnet and sticking it down in the tube isn't going to condition anything, because it's going to stay permanent.
okay, there you have it. John Bedini admitted the magnet conditioning was a hoax. Now, the first decent video that came out, I've got highlighted here, was in 2000. A second video in 2006. And then John Bedini admits the 10th of March 2012. That's not including recording time, so it could have been a few days before that. That's the time the DVD's been written. So we're looking at a 25-year gap from 1987, which is when the initial Floyd Sweet Secrets videos were shot. Floyd Sweet started with his machines. The first successful machines were back in 1986, the end of 1986, and then through 1987. So we're looking at 25 years of different stories from different people, and then an admission that the magnet conditioning was a hoax. Like I've said in previous videos, it's pretty disappointing, to be honest. We have seen, information that's been said, told, shared that's not right, and I just think that some of this is it's really wrong. That there's a definite effort there by people to mislead others, and that really upsets me. That really makes me mad. I just want to let you know that I was told by John Bedini to stop working on the Floyd Sweet device. He said there was a pressure given rather than a direction. There's also reference in some of the videos, not directly to me, but about me. You can, if you watch some of the videos, you will find it about people working on the Floyd Sweet device that shouldn't be, and so on and so forth. Now I just want to point out the admission of the conditioning hoax was brought about by experiments that I shared with the community to prove that magnet conditioning could not have been the key to the VTA. Magnet conditioning is a complete hoax, and as I've just pointed out, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, it doesn't matter how much the magnetic field is waving, at the end of the day the coils will end up with a dead short on one end. There will be an EMF that will be invoked in each winding that is cut by the magnetic field that's moving, but they'll both be in the same direction, and it'll just end up shorting out on the end. So there'll be no output on the terminals. And I'll play a video, just a very short video that I have released a long time ago to prove that. Okay, hi everybody. Today I just want to show the flux on a permanent magnet, how the flux on the permanent magnet needs to be altered in some way in the sense of the Floyd Sweet VTA to induce an EMF into a coil. Here I have two 6x4 by ½ inch permanent magnets. The field strength, I've got a north pole here and a south pole here, so the flux is bent over like this. Now across the face of the magnet the flux is fairly uniform. So what I want to show first of all is that if I move this coil across the face of the permanent magnet, even though there is a flux cutting and the coil was cutting the flux, being that the flux is uniform from the face of the permanent magnet, there's nearly no EMF induced in the coil. Basically what's happening is we've got an EMF going one way on this side of the coil, and we've got an EMF going the same way on this side of the coil, so essentially it's a dead short. Now what happens if we move the coil over to here, you can see we have an EMF induced in the coil on the scope, basically because this side of the coil is seeing an EMF going this way and this side of the coil is seeing an EMF going this way. So essentially each side adds to the total EMF on the output. So I think it's very important to show that the magnets in the Floyd Sweet VTA were altered if Floyd was using standard Faraday law theory. It's fairly important to understand this quite important concept. This concept is fairly well known in the magnetics industry, but it's not really written anywhere. This is something that's sort of not really hush-hush, but it's something that's not really well known. You can see here I've collected tons of information about Floyd Sweet over the years. There's information in there that has been around on the internet, but most of it's been deleted now. Most of it's not up there anymore. I would love to just do a dump of this, but physically the information that's in there, it's too big. It's I think it's around about 9 gig of data here. I have shared most of this via my website in one form or another though. So most of it's out there, so you don't need to worry about that. I have backups of backups of backups of this information, so it won't be going anywhere. If anything happens, I'll find a way to do a major dump up on the internet anyway. But as I say, there's tons of information here. What I have done is I've broken things down to the smallest basic components. I've taken quotes of people, so things that I think are important I've separated out. Some of the original old school files that were released way back. It was about 1987, 88, 80, about 1990 probably, around about. That's all the old stuff. The new energy newsletters, I've tried to collect those that have had decent information in them. Lots of different people. Out of all this information, there's probably maybe a quarter of it that's worthwhile. Honestly, out of 9 gig, what's a quarter of 9 gig? It's about 2.5 gig, isn't it? So out of 9 gig, there's about 2.5 gig that's worthwhile. Little things that people say, like oppose to force fields on the A field. So the A field is the magnetic A vector potential. Little things that I've picked up on, just being very worthwhile. It has led me to what I believe it was a combination of my experiments and following information that people had laid out, but in the right order. You sort of got to read and study and gather information and follow that trail that tends to sort of be gained. And again, that's all done by gut feeling, all done by instinct, all done by what feels right. Do it by what feels right. I want to finish up this video. It's quite a long video. I do apologize. Some of it might be a little bit hard to listen to, so I do apologize. It is all good information. Information is very important. I have made backups of things that we've done. One thing I have done is backed up the entire partnered output coil thread over where I started it. Out of that backup, what I have done is I've built a small application that actually goes through and sorts posts by the search criteria that you put in. Now, just to finish this video up, we did have a successful machine running on the forum. Now, this is very significant because as far as I know, there's never been before a successful running machine on a thread that has a successful theory and successful verification by that particular person on the theory that's been presented. So we have a verification of a machine running which no one could fault the measurements on the machine. The machine itself was not faulted by any expert that come across and had a look at it. And that particular person knows who they are. It was Tin Man. Approximately June the 19th, Friday, June the 19th, 2015. So this was several months after, 6 months after I started the thread, presented the information, gave everybody an idea on what the coils were actually doing together, presented the laws of induction, Lenz's law, and the significance of the interactions between the two coils in those regards. So what I have done is this little application goes through and searches by name, and it actually brings up all the information. So it would seem that a bucking coil arrangement does indeed add energy to a system, something that we've seen before. Now if you scroll through some of this stuff, again, same as before, there's a good percentage of this information that is just rubbish, but there is some good stuff there again as well. So I encourage, go through this information. It has been put up onto my forum. This information is out there. It's been marked as above -unity because these machines, when you get them right, they do go above unity, and this is how they work. Okay, so the two output coils must buck against each other, and that's the whole idea of presenting this particular video to everybody. The information is out there. Okay, so this is what this has done, is this has pulled every post that Tin Man has posted from that particular date, and some of it, as I say, some of it's complete rubbish, some of it is not. This particular image here is the circuit that was used. Very interesting. There was a lot of debate about the actual shorting of the circuit, what it was shorting and how it was shorting it. And again, the verification, Tin Man did say on many occasions that the information that I had given everybody was correct and valid. And in the first post, as we sort of pointed out, Brad was very surprised about bucking coils actually doing the job. So we do have verification. We do have a machine that was active on the thread for a short time. Now, I can't explain it. I don't understand what happened, but there was everything was going fine, and then not long after that, it just all turned to porridge. I think the trolls got involved, and various other things as well. I don't want to use any names in any bad context. It's not what I'm about. I'm here to present technology. So look, go through, read the threads that are out there. This information is all up on my website, aboveunity.com, and you'll be able to see that this is all out there. It's all active. It's valid. It's not been debunked. The Graham-Gunderson machine works on almost exactly the same principles as what Tin Man's machine does. And again, it wasn't faulted. Tin Man did an excellent job of presenting it, excellent job of going through, doing the correct measurements, all that sort of thing. I believe it was about 1.8. Cop was 1.8. So it was well above unity. And if you go through, as long as the original thread hasn't been edited, I know for a fact that the editing has been happening on some of those threads. So be very careful what you're reading, and that's why I've done a backup. This is a complete full backup of the thread at the time that they went through and thought, well, hey, this guy's sharing too much information, we better stop him. So they shut me down, they banned me. I did nothing wrong. I absolutely did nothing wrong. So here we go here. Brad basically says to everybody out there, they also dismiss EMJs. I am EMJ. EMJ is electromagnetic junkie. That's been me for the last 20 plus years. So look, honestly, this video is going to end on a high note. What I am presenting is true, is real, is correct. Anyone with a sound mind cannot fault this technology once it's up and running. As I say, there's some work required to get the best results, but I've shown everybody what's required, the basic requirements of getting this technology up and running. I have very slowly introduced this technology over many years now, to be honest. I've been slowly doing this for, since 2011 at least anyway. And what are we, 2018, 2019 now? So yeah, fair few years. People now understand the importance of bucking coils. People haven't really quite seen the capacity that's involved between the coils. It seems to me that the capacity comes from the difference in magnetic fields. I still can't explain it. I don't understand it. I know how to get there, but I can't explain the exact properties of the magnetic fields and how there's a capacity there. So look, go through, read all these threads. Again, on a high note, this is proof. This is a feather in the cap of this particular technology. As I say, Graham Gunderson's machine works on exactly the same principles as Tin Man's machine. Tin Man's machine was vastly more simple. Now, as far as I understand it, Tin Man's machine has had mechanical failure and stopped working. When the mechanical failure occurred, Bradley wasn't able to make the machine work again. And in my understanding, Bradley's been chasing his tail to find out exactly what was going on and all that sort of thing. I'm going to leave it there. Please, if I can ask on this high note, please donate if you can. We are completely self-funded. We don't run ads because Google ads don't work. They're a rip-off. People get annoyed with them. So please fund us. We don't sell anything. Like I say, we're completely self-funded. This is an effort that has come out of my pocket for the last 20 plus years. And if you're able to donate just a little bit to us, either in the form of forum contributions or even a financial contribution, financial contributions are very, very much appreciated. Just as much as a forum contribution. If you become a member and decide to share your work, we're the safest forum on the internet. I do not allow trolls. Trolls are immediately banned after a couple of warnings. If the behavior does not improve immediately, trolls are banned. So this is the safest forum on the internet. I monitor it all the time. So please, come and become a member. Come and help support us. Support us in one way or another. I very much appreciate everybody that comes to the forum, and very much appreciate donations as well. It helps keep the wheels spinning. So thank you very much.